Under this overwhelming pressure, the starry sky seemed unable to bear it. Countless distortions and shattered fractures appeared across the void. Especially at the instant the words thunder-gathering seal were spoken, the starry sky rumbled. The lightning that had been suppressed and pushed away all around suddenly surged forth with thunderous force, converging instantly on the raised right hand of the first elder. A colossal thunder orb burst into existence. As thunder and lightning ceaselessly gathered around it, the orb instantly swelled to tens of thousands of zhang in size. Lightning coursed through its core, thunder roared within, and it spun at a dizzying speed. "Gather for me," the first elder growled. At once, the massive thunder orb hovering above his hand erupted with a deafening boom. Amid the thunderous roar, the orb began a frenzied compression. Tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold, 10,000-fold, 100,000-fold, a millionfold. Under this relentless compression, thunder roared louder, lightning within blazed ever brighter, illuminating the entire starry sky. Even the first elder's figure was consumed by the radiant glow, vanishing from sight. It was as if all light, all thunder, and all sound in existence had, in that instant, been drawn into the thunder orb within the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder Clan's grasp, ceaselessly compressing, condensing, folding in upon itself again and again. Even Wong Lin was shaken to the core by this terrifying display. His pupils contracted, for he recognized the technique. It was one he had practiced himself during his time infiltrating the Lightning Thunder Clan. In the next breath, his gaze flashed sharply. He too raised his right hand as though lifting the heavens. "Thunder-gathering seal." Wong Lin's voice echoed out, and instantly, the lightning and thunder converging toward the first elder shuddered. At that moment, a lightning-shaped imprint appeared in Wong Lin's right eye. Next to it, thought thunder manifested and danced around the imprint, making his eye radiate a blinding, eerie light. The thunder power in the starry sky split in two, with half diverting toward Wong Lin's outstretched hand. In the blink of an eye, it formed a massive thunder orb. Seeing Wong Lin also cast Thunder-Gathering Seal, the first elder's pupils narrowed, but he said nothing. Their gazes clashed. Each raised a thunder orb and began a crazed compression. Wong Lin's orb was compressed 10,000-fold in a flash, then continued. Bang, bang. Explosions echoed from within the orb, shaking the heavens. 1 millionfold, 2 millionfold, all the way to 3 millionfold. The terrifying power radiating from Wong Lin's orb could annihilate heaven and earth. What he held was no longer just a thunder orb, it was world-ending thunder. Explosive rumbling resounded again and again. Meanwhile, the first elder's thunder orb also underwent violent compression. As it devoured the surrounding thunder, its compression reached 5 millionfold. All this compression took place in an instant. As both continued, the entire starry sky underwent a dramatic transformation, splitting apart from between them, tearing toward both sides. Two distinct thunder powers erupted simultaneously from the split void. The first elder of the Flash Thunder Clan wielded eternal thunder, a primordial thunder that had descended upon the world countless ages ago, an origin of thunder. His eyes shimmered with strange light as he suddenly leapt forward, carrying the orb compressed 5 millionfold, charging directly at Wong Lin. Die. Wong Lin's thunder origin, however, was not inherited, it was earned. He had forged it step by step, comprehending its nature through his connection to half a primordial thunder dragon. Though it couldn't rival eternal thunder in origin, it was a true thunder origin nonetheless, equal in essence. As the first elder descended upon him, Wong Lin, too, leapt upward. His right hand carried thunder compressed to 3 millionfold. At the moment he surged forth, he let out a sky-shaking roar. "In the name of my thunder origin, I command all thunder to gather once more." Thunder exploded violently from his hand, and the thunder compressed 3 millionfold surged again, reaching 4 millionfold in a blink. This was the limit of Wong Lin's cultivation. Madness shone in his eyes as he met the oncoming first elder between the torn starry skies, where a thunder war erupted. Both were thunder cultivators. In a battle between such cultivators, the contest was simple, mastery over thunder and thunder's allegiance. Within both their bodies surged resistance to ordinary thunder, meaning only will-infused thunder, under their control, could truly deal harm. As they collided, thunder exploded wildly across the starry sky. Vast sections of the void crumbled, spatial rifts tearing open in all directions. The thunder domain quaked violently. Their opposing thunder powers unleashed an unimaginable shockwave. Like a tidal wave reversing course, this shockwave erupted outward. It spread in every direction as overwhelming thunder tides swept across space, rapidly expanding, and engulfing all 16 cultivation stars of the Lightning Thunder clan. Amid the deafening explosions, countless lives were lost. The thunder waves surged, and the thunder domain surrounding the Flash Thunder clan boiled and expanded outward, growing 100-fold in an instant. A mighty rumble echoed through the starry sky of the primordial star of antiquity. Nearby cultivation stars were also affected by this thunderous wave, as if struck by a downpour of thunder. This scene resembled a collapse, spreading wildly within the Flash Thunder clan on the primordial star of antiquity. The force of this collapse was so overwhelming that it quickly drew the attention of numerous powerful figures within the primordial star of antiquity. Even a third-step great power detected the sudden upheaval within the Flash Thunder clan. As the clash of thunder intensified, Wong Lin's compressed, thunderous energy exploded. He spat a large mouthful of blood, and even some internal organs ruptured. His bones seemed to shatter as excruciating pain surged through him like a tidal wave, his body twisting and contorting as though struck by a violent storm. This was only the first wave of impact. As Wong Lin was thrown back, the second wave of thunderous collision arrived, carrying an earth-shattering momentum powerful enough to annihilate all life. As the second wave neared, amidst this life-or-death crisis, Wong Lin's thoughts weren't just focused on his own survival. He was also considering how to severely wound the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan. He was certain the Grand Elder wasn't faring any better, facing the same thunderous collapse and devastating impact head-on. "Let's do this." Wong Lin's eyes blazed with madness. His nature was such that he thrived under extreme pressure, and the more dangerous the situation, the bolder he became. It was his precise calculations and scheming that allowed him to defeat seemingly unbeatable foes time and time again. At the moment the second wave arrived, Wong Lin formed a hand seal and pointed forward. In an instant, countless beams of light erupted from the chaotic flow of space. These beams of light were of all kinds: thunderous light, electric light, starlight, annihilating light, and the invisible light pouring from countless rifts in the starry sky. Even the light from the cultivation stars near the Flash Thunder clan and the light of countless cultivators within the clan joined in. Most importantly, the light from the 7 million realms spirit talismans in Wong Lin's storage space also converged here. In the blink of an eye, all of these lights combined and enveloped Wong Lin's body. A massive shadow of light appeared around him. From a distance, Wong Lin's figure was completely obscured, and all that could be seen was the immense light shadow, absorbing the light of heaven and earth. This was the Blue Dream Dao Sovereign's ultimate defensive technique, the light and shadow shield. The moment this shadow appeared, the second wave of thunderous collision and destruction rushed forward. It struck the light shadow with incredible force, causing it to tremble violently. But in the next instant, the shadow's light exploded, releasing a blinding brilliance that illuminated the entire world and the starry sky. The light shadow emitted an unbearable sound as it trembled, about to shatter under the impact. In that moment, Wong Lin roared, spitting more blood onto the light shadow. Immediately, the shadow absorbed the blood, turning crimson as it reflected the second wave, the third wave, and even the fourth wave of attacks. As the waves of impact were reflected, the light shadow collapsed. Wong Lin's face turned pale, but his expression was filled with a crazed, killing intent. He swung his right hand, and in a flash of blood-red light, the indestructible blood sword appeared, slicing through the reflected impacts. Die! His right eye flickered with the lightning mark, and with a sinister gleam, the blood sword shot forward, followed by the spirit thought thunder that circled around it. His eyes flashed with a red glow as he simultaneously activated the extreme realm. Everything happened so fast. In the blink of an eye, the reflected impacts were torn apart by the blood sword, Wong Lin's primordial lightning, and the extreme realm lightning. It transformed into a deadly tribulation, rushing forward in a violent torrent. The Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan was also retreating, his hands swinging to counter the waves of impact. But in that moment, his face changed drastically. His pupils contracted in shock. He never imagined that Wong Lin, in such a state, would dare to act with such incredible boldness. Especially with the appearance of the light shadow, it struck his mind like a heavy hammer. This This is the light and shadow shield of Blue Dream Dao Sovereign. Could it be that Blue Dream Dao Sovereign wants to kill me? Ahead of him, the reflected impacts roared toward him, merging with the original storm headed toward the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan. It was as if, in that moment, the Grand Elder had to endure the full force of this thunderous collapse. The attack contained the Blood Sword, Wong Lin's Primordial Lightning, and the Extreme Realm's might. A long-forgotten life and death crisis suddenly surged in the Grand Elder's heart. He had no time to think, as the impact completely engulfed him. The earth-shattering sound echoed through the heavens and earth. Only after a long time did everything finally subside. Wong Lin, retreating, summoned the wind and rain summoning realm to resist the scattered thunderous energy, retreating far away. But just then, a thunderous roar, brimming with boundless fury, erupted into the sky. From the spot where the shockwave had just dissipated, a lightning-clad figure stepped out one stride at a time. It was none other than the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan. An aura countless times more powerful than before surged from his body, transforming into a storm around him. The sheer intensity of it was overwhelming. So close to the third step it sent shivers through the soul. His robes were tattered, the flesh on his right chest mangled and pierced by the blood sword. A crack had split the mark at his brow, shattered by the force of the extreme realm. Wounds covered his body, blood flowing freely. These injuries were caused by Wong Lin's Primordial Lightning. Even his essence spirit had grown faint, severely damaged by the thunder power that had torn through him. You're dead. With the endless vitality of my fifth decay of heaven and man, in the name of the eternal holy thunder slave, I opened the primordial thunder realm, summoning from the eternal ages, the primordial thunder dragon. He had never thought much of Wong Lin. He had believed the fourth decay of heaven and man was enough to annihilate him. But after enduring a life-or-death crisis unlike any he had faced in tens of thousands of years, he was abruptly awakened to reality. Had he not, in a moment of desperation, torn open the final seal, releasing his full cultivation and unleashing the fifth decay, he would have been gravely wounded or even completely obliterated by the earlier explosion. That thunderous impact had swallowed him like a raging tidal wave, tearing through his perfect defenses. In the instant his shield was breached, crimson lightning crashed down, piercing into the clan mark on his brow. Within that lightning was a trace of celestial power, causing the mark to tremble and split open with a loud crack. In the eerie, nearly indestructible blood sword, it was a nightmare. It pierced straight through his chest, taking with it a torrent of blood. Had it not been for the fifth decay's protection, that single sword strike alone would have left him drenched in cold sweat from head to toe. Moreover, the opponent's primordial lightning surged into the blast, becoming countless bolts of thunder infused with will. They resonated with the thunder power within his body, striking both inside and out, leaving him riddled with wounds. All of this was a bloody lesson, one that sobered the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan. The young man before him was no ordinary foe, and the divine ability, Light and Shadow Shield, used by the opponent, clearly a power of the Blue Dream Dao Sovereign, only deepened the Elder's shock and speculation. But compared to all that, whether it was the injuries or the connection to the Blue Dream Dao Sovereign, none of it truly terrified him. What truly left him in awe was the opponent's grasp of timing and precision, his ruthless decisiveness, and cunning execution. In that extremely perilous thunder collapse, he actually activated the Light and Shadow Shield without hesitation, launching a surprise counterattack that caught me completely off guard. It sounds simple, but to seize that moment and act flawlessly is exceedingly rare. Even if it had been me, I might have hesitated for a heartbeat. This man, still young in years, already possessed such a ruthless and calculating mind. On the ancient star of antiquity, he could not possibly be unknown. Someone like this should be renowned far and wide, yet he had never heard the name Wong Lin before. Just who is he? The Grand Elder's expression turned grim and savage. Having broken free from the blast, his killing intent toward Wong Lin surged to unimaginable levels. With a low growl, he raised both arms toward the heavens and violently tore them apart to both sides. Open Primordial Thunder Realm. Thunder boomed violently, shaking heaven and earth with even greater force than before. Before the Grand Elder, a massive vortex suddenly materialized. Its center was pitch black, surrounded by countless arcs of lightning. As it spun, it seemed to slowly morph into a black hole, one capable of opening a doorway to another world. This divine ability was already infinitely close to the third step, drawing upon the power of devotional faith. In the distance, Wong Lin's face was slightly pale. That previous counterattack had come at a cost. He was wounded too. Had he not immediately summoned the wind and rain summoning realm in defense, he would have been gravely injured by now. This was a brutal battle, arguably the fiercest of Wong Lin's life. Although the third step great power, Water Path Master, had once failed to kill him, that had not been due to Wong Lin's own strength, but rather the intervention of the Lord of the Sealed Realm. But now, against the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder Clan, Wong Lin stood alone, and his blood boiled, igniting with fighting spirit. In his eyes blazed the will to battle. For us cultivators, why fear a fight? Why shy away from war? If I can't defeat the fifth decay of heaven and man, how can I ever hope to challenge a third step great power? How can I kill Water Path Master? Wong Lin let out a sky-shaking roar. As he formed seals with both hands, thunderous rumbles erupted from his entire body. The ancient god star mark at his brow spun rapidly, and within it, the star of law flickered into view. His cultivation surged wildly. The blood sword had already returned, now circling around him and radiating endless sword energy. Wong Lin's gaze burned like torches. He gave the Grand Elder no time to complete his divine ability. With a wave of his right hand, he charged forward at full speed. The blood sword carved a path, and endless thunder suddenly erupted around him. In just a blink, Wong Lin surged forward like a meteor engulfed by a swarm of thunder, charging through the air amidst deafening rumbles. A mere glimmer dares challenge the radiance of a full moon? The Grand Elder of the Lightning Thunder Clan sneered as he bit down on his tongue and spat out a mouthful of blood infused with the cultivation of his fifth decay of heaven and man. The moment the blood sprayed out, it was instantly absorbed by the massive vortex swirling outside his body. O ancient primordial thunder dragons, long since perished and dissolved into the endless passage of time, today, I, in the name of the eternal holy thunder slave, summon your scattered souls. With my blood as the guide, let your thunder might return from the void, descend upon the ancient star of antiquity, and restore the godlike power you once wielded to destroy the heavens in the primordial age. The instant his blood was devoured by the vortex, muffled roars burst from within, shaking the heavens. Even before the creatures broke free from the swirling storm, the starry sky trembled violently, and all thunder within it submitted in silence. At the exact moment his words fell, the roar from the vortex intensified. Something vast and powerful was colliding from within, pounding relentlessly to break through. Primordial Thunder Dragon, descend, the Grand Elder of the Lightning Thunder Clan bellowed to the sky. He tore the air with both hands, and with a thunderous crack, the vortex spun wildly as a tremendous sound boomed from within. Suddenly, a colossal dragon head emerged from the vortex's center. Its body glowed with a bluish-green hue, coursing with endless thunder. As it appeared, it unleashed a roar unique to the Primordial Thunder Dragon. Roar. Wong Lin descended wrapped in thunder, but the moment he arrived, every bolt of lightning surrounding him disintegrated beyond his control. Even he, under that ancient dragon's roar, was overwhelmed. His entire body trembled with explosive sounds, blood spewed from his mouth, and he was hurled backward, disbelief etched in his eyes. A fully intact primordial thunder dragon, Wong Lin retreated, his expression growing darker. From within the vortex, the massive dragon head surged forth with overwhelming fury and menace. Its body stretched for tens of thousands of feet, and each of its bluish-green scales crackled with thunder. As it burst forth, vast regions of the starry sky began to collapse. Its very presence seemed capable of ending worlds. If it had been just one primordial thunder dragon, Wong Lin might not have been so shaken. But as soon as the first one emerged, another dragon head followed, and then another, and another. 2, 3, 4, until the 8th primordial thunder dragon roared into existence. Before Wong Lin now hovered 8 of these primordial beasts, dominating the skies and space, descending upon the ancient star of antiquity. Each one was a being of immeasurable divine power, their strength beyond description. With all 8 manifested, every trace of thunder submitted to their command. Slay him, primordial thunder dragons, the Grand Elder of the Lightning Thunder Clan snarled as he pointed at Wong Lin. Immediately, the 8 dragons let out thunderous roars and charged at him from all directions like a stampede of war horses. Their arrival was earth-shaking. In their presence, all thunder lost its meaning, for they were the primordial thunder dragons, the ultimate emissaries wielding the heaven's authority over thunder. In a blink, they closed in on Wong Lin, aiming to devour him. Amidst the continuous explosions, Wong Lin roared back, spread his arms wide, and grabbed one of the charging dragons. His body trembled violently, as if struck by a war chariot weighing 1,000,000 June. Blood spurted from his mouth as he staggered back. But he had barely taken 3 steps when 2 more primordial thunder dragons lunged at him. With each wave of impact, Wong Lin coughed up more blood. He couldn't hold his ground, he kept retreating. At that moment, 3 more dragons surged in from behind, trapping him in the center. All 8 dragons now surrounded him, roaring and closing in from every direction. A sense of mortal danger exploded within Wong Lin's heart and mind. His face was deathly pale, yet his eyes burned with madness. His body was mangled and bloodied, and not a trace of thunder power could be controlled anymore. The might of these primordial thunder dragons far exceeded anything Wong Lin had ever imagined, stronger by countless times than the one he had devoured years ago. These are fully grown primordial thunder dragons, but they should have died out long ago. These 8 are no physical entities, they're formed of condensed souls. Still, even as soul forms, if all 8 erupt at once, they could obliterate me entirely. Even with my ancient god physique, limited by the star mark, I may not survive it. But it was precisely because I devoured half a primordial thunder dragon back then that I gained the chance to give birth to a thunder source. Now, if I can devour these 8 dragon souls, my thunder power will skyrocket. Under the relentless assault, Wong Lin's injuries worsened rapidly. In mere moments, his essence spirit was on the verge of collapse, and his physical body groaned under the unbearable pressure. What should I do? Soul essence. Soul essence. These primordial thunder dragons were invincible in their prime, but now they are just souls. I need a chance. Wong Lin's eyes, filled with bloodshot veins, flashed with a strange light. He no longer retreated, but instead, as the 8 primordial thunder dragons opened their massive jaws and were about to devour him, he let out a roar that shook the heavens, as powerful as any of the primordial thunder dragons themselves. Roar. A vortex appeared in the center of Wong Lin's forehead, and his essence spirit directly extended out, forming the shape of a primordial thunder dragon. It let out the same furious roar as the dragons. The roar was earth-shattering. The moment it resounded, the 8 primordial thunder dragons faltered for a brief moment. Kunji whip. At this moment of hesitation, a dim light began to flicker rapidly around Wong Lin's body. It was none other than the Kunji whip, mysterious and enigmatic since the beginning of his cultivation, suddenly materializing. The Kunji whip, after merging with Wong Lin's Dao thought, could now expand or contract at will. At this moment, it transformed into a length of about 10,000 zhang, circling around Wong Lin's body, and with immense force, it struck at the 8 primordial thunder dragons. This is... No, the aura is different. It only resembles it. The sound of the whip crashing through the air was deafening as the Kunji whip, sweeping across the dragons, made a terrifying cracking sound. Each of the 8 primordial thunder dragons was struck by the whip, and their agonizing roars echoed wildly. Just as they were about to charge forward again, Wong Lin grabbed the whip and swung it around his body, striking violently. The Kunji whip, obtained from the Vermilion Bird Star, was specially designed to harm souls and essence spirits, and had never failed. No matter what cultivation level, any being with a soul or essence spirit would find themselves in despair when confronted with this whip. There was no escaping. Even the heavenly ghost from years ago had been unable to flee from this whip, trembling in horror as it was forcibly pulled in. Now, with Wong Lin wielding it, the sound of the whip strikes reverberated across the skies, and the 8 primordial thunder dragons, unable to withstand the force, were pushed back. As they retreated, areas struck by the whip seemed to ignite, melting as though engulfed in flames. Wong Lin's spirit surged, and without hesitation, he poured all his cultivation into the Kunji whip. Instantly, the dim light of the whip intensified, with a faint golden glow leaking from the cracks. At the sight of the golden light, the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder Clan's expression drastically changed. A trace of fear flickered in his eyes. This golden light. Could it be that this is impossible? That whip was taken away years ago. How could it be in his hands? It's impossible. I'll see for myself how this replica can compare. The Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder Clan fixed his gaze on the whip, forming hand seals, and spitting out blood. His blood scattered and merged with the 8 primordial thunder dragons, causing them to roar even more fiercely, suddenly halting their retreat and charging forward with mad fury. Wong Lin stepped forward, swinging the Kunji whip rapidly, engaging in a terrifying battle with the 8 thunder dragons. The dim light on the whip gradually faded, replaced by the increasingly evident golden glow from the cracks. Soon after, the 8 primordial thunder dragons seemed to go berserk. With a tremendous roar, they suddenly abandoned Wong Lin and lunged directly at the whip. Primordial thunder dragons, explode, explode, explode. The Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder Clan snarled viciously, staring at the Kunji whip, then shouted. As soon as the Grand Elder's words were uttered, The 8 primordial thunder dragons trembled in unison. Then, with a deafening roar, one of them exploded violently, sending a massive thunderstorm crashing outward, a force so powerful it could destroy the heavens and earth. But it wasn't just one dragon. Within a short span of time, all 8 primordial thunder dragons detonated simultaneously, creating 8 thunderstorms that devastated everything in their path, enough to annihilate countless lives across a starry sky. The storm swept forward toward Wong Lin. At this critical moment, Wong Lin's Kunji whip swung wildly, but the storm was too powerful. With an overwhelming roar, the whip began to crack, unable to withstand the storm's power. In an instant, large cracks appeared on the whip, followed by loud explosive sounds. The front of the whip shattered completely. Wong Lin's body was torn apart, his flesh and blood disintegrating. In that moment, the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder Clan seemed to let out a breath of relief, realizing that the whip was not the feared treasure he had once thought it was. His mind relaxed for a moment, but his killing intent reignited as he stepped forward to use the storm's power to finish Wong Lin off. Die, old man. The Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder Clan grinned savagely, rushing toward Wong Lin. His right hand raised, preparing to strike down with overwhelming force. But in that instant, an unexpected change occurred. Wong Lin, struggling against the storm created by the explosions of the 8 primordial thunder dragons, felt his ancient god physique on the verge of collapse. His essence spirit trembled, his injuries severe and his strength waning rapidly. His eyes were bloodshot as he sighed inwardly. With his current cultivation, he was no match for the 5th decay of heaven and man. Just as he was about to activate the spirit talisman and head for the 7 million realms amidst the storm, his eyes suddenly widened in shock. A blinding flash of golden light erupted from the crumbling Kunji whip. In the blink of an eye, more rays of golden light burst forth endlessly from the whip. Within that radiance, an indescribable aura slowly spread out. Even the primordial thunder dragon that had formed the storm seemed to freeze under that light and aura. Even the rotation of the starry heavens seemed to halt, as if a spell of stillness had been cast. In that instant, all sound vanished from the world. Even the thunder was as if annihilated, no more rumble or echo remained. All that was left was the dazzling golden light of the Kunji whip and that unfathomable aura. Within the light, the massive Kunji whip, originally tens of thousands of feet long, rapidly shrank, crumbling in utter silence. Layer after layer of skin peeled away, causing the golden radiance to intensify. In just a brief moment, the colossal whip had shrunk to less than 30 feet. As the final strip of skin tore away, a stunning transformation took place. At a glance, it no longer resembled a whip at all. It was a beam of light. A single beam of golden light. It was as if someone had extracted pure light from the fabric of heaven and earth, refining it with immense divine power into this 30-foot ray of golden brilliance. An overwhelming aura radiated from it. Wong Lin held that golden ray in his hand. In that instant, his mind trembled, his vision blurred. A strange and eerie sensation arose. He felt as if what he held was not a weapon, but the sole essence of tens of thousands, even billions of living beings. These souls had been fused with the light through some mysterious divine art, forming this Kunji whip, which directly attacked the essence, spirit, and soul. A faint understanding surfaced in Wong Lin's mind. Holding the 30-foot golden ray, he gently swung it around him. In an instant, the beam twisted like a serpent and lashed out at the storm formed by the primordial thunder dragons. The moment it lashed out, the golden ray extended without limit. 100 feet, 1,000, 10,000, tens of thousands. The golden light spread endlessly, sweeping through everything in its path. It cut straight through the storm of thunder surrounding Wong Lin. The storm shuddered, and a deafening explosion rang out. It collapsed in a roar. As it collapsed, 8 primordial thunder dragon soul phantoms emerged. Their colossal forms split in two, letting out mournful roars, preparing to dissipate into the world and return to the long-lost primordial thunder realm. At that moment, the Grand Elder of the Lightning Thunder Clan was overcome with dread. The instant that golden ray appeared, he staggered backward in terror. Even so, the residual force of the whip still grazed him, causing him to cough up blood. His face turned pale as he cried out in disbelief. This is impossible. The soul-sealing whip of the myriad realms was taken away back then. There's no way it could appear again in this world. Who are you? Where are you from? How could you possess the treasure used by the leaders of those mysterious cultivators who aided our ancestor? The Grand Elder, now pushed to the brink of fear, was trembling uncontrollably. That whip! He had seen it before. Back when their ancestor was still alive, he was just a spirit transformation cultivator. He had seen it with his own eyes, those mysterious cultivator leaders wielding the whip. With a single swing, heaven and earth collapsed, time warped, and the stars themselves split open as if the cosmos had been turned inside out. And from that chaos, the 7 million realms had emerged. He also saw, when that cultivator struck with the whip a second time, the void itself was torn apart. From that darkness, the whip coiled and swept away countless living beings, sending them into the 7 million realms as its first inhabitants. He even remembered, as the cultivator drew in those souls, a furious roar echoed from the torn void, followed by a terrifying aura that burned into his memory. A shadowy figure surged forth, but was obliterated by the third strike of that whip. They left. They took the whip and vanished. Why has this supreme treasure of their leader appeared again, and in this person's hands? Could it be fate? Has the spirit of our ancestor brought this man here, gifting him the soul-sealing whip of the myriad realms? Mad greed filled the Grand Elder's eyes. But Wong Lin had no time to notice his thoughts. At this moment, a strange gleam lit his eyes. His heart pounded as he stared at the 8 shredded primordial thunder dragon souls about to fade back into the primordial thunder realm. These are real primordial thunder dragons, even if only their souls. Back then, I only consumed half of one. I can't let this chance slip away now. Wong Lin's eyes flashed with light. As he watched the souls of the primordial thunder dragons about to vanish completely, he wondered if he'd ever have another opportunity like this in his life. At that moment, he could think of nothing else. Without hesitation, he closed his eyes, and the whirlpool in the center of his brow suddenly appeared. His essence spirit shot out directly. His essence spirit was that of the primordial thunder dragon, but at this moment, it rapidly transformed. In an instant, it became a mass of mist that spread out endlessly in all directions. Wong Lin's essence spirit had devoured half of a primordial thunder dragon in the past, because he had become a soul devourer when he was on Vermilion Bird Star. This soul devourer ability allowed him to devour all souls and essence spirits, whether from heaven and earth. Though Wong Lin rarely used this ability today, at this moment, he activated it once again. Devour, devour, devour. Devour the souls of these 8 primordial thunder dragons. If I swallow them, my thunder power will surge to unprecedented heights. Wong Lin's thoughts surged with madness as his essence spirit moved according to his will. It transformed into a massive mouth and, with a violent pull, began to devour the souls before him. The souls of the primordial thunder dragons, on the brink of dissipating, trembled in an instant. In the blink of an eye, part of them were drawn into Wong Lin's essence spirit's mouth. In that moment, Wong Lin's essence spirit grew exponentially. Lightning crackled inside, and his thunder power spiked like never before. The Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder Clan, watching from afar, was stunned. His eyes widened in disbelief. He never imagined that Wong Lin would dare to devour, let alone be able to devour, a primordial thunder dragon. How is this possible? As soon as the broken souls of the primordial thunder dragons entered Wong Lin's essence spirit, his essence spirit exploded with lightning. The lightning crackled and surged, turning into a massive electric current that resembled a silver serpent, whipping through the heavens and stars with a loud crackle. An indescribable thunder might exploded from Wong Lin's essence spirit, shaking the very heavens and earth. All the lightning, all the thunder, and everything related to thunder in the starry sky seemed to vanish in an instant. Wong Lin's mind raced as he vaguely felt he was grasping something, yet it remained unclear. The origin of thunder hidden within his essence spirit now expanded wildly, pulsating like a heart. With each beat, the origin of thunder grew stronger, giving birth to more primal power. Even more astonishing was the transformation of Wong Lin's essence spirit. Originally, when he had devoured half of a primordial thunder dragon in the demon spirit land, his essence spirit had taken on the form of a thunder dragon. Through countless years of cultivation, it gradually formed the origin of thunder, making his essence spirit nearly become a living thunderbolt. But this was still not truly thunder. Now, however, his essence spirit was undergoing an earth-shattering change, evolving toward becoming the true thunder essence spirit. The souls of the primordial thunder dragons that he had devoured were pushing his essence spirit toward perfection. Previously, his essence spirit had been equal to the indestructible thunder of the Flash Thunder clan, but even though they were at the same level, there were still differences in power. Now, all of that was rapidly changing. The realization of thunder surged within Wong Lin's essence spirit 1,000-fold. His essence spirit let out a thunderous roar and transformed once more into a soul devourer, opening its mouth wide to suck in more. The entire world changed color, and the starry sky trembled. Countless cracks appeared as all the remaining souls of the primordial thunder dragons were pulled into Wong Lin's essence spirit in a violent surge. In this instant, Wong Lin's essence spirit writhed madly. The mist rapidly condensed, shrinking suddenly. A terrifying aura, the half-origin of thunder, erupted from within his essence spirit as it contracted. As this aura spread, the thunder domain outside the Flash Thunder clan retreated. Lightning trembled, and thunder bowed to its power. Inside the Flash Thunder clan's sacred land, the indestructible thunder connecting heaven and earth in their temple erupted with a thunderous roar that shook the heavens. The sound of this thunder seemed to come from the ancient past, carrying an unimaginable pressure. It resonated like a great thunder cultivator sensing danger to itself, and thus issuing a challenge. As Wong Lin's essence spirit contracted, the aura of the thunder origin spread out, and in an instant, blinding bolts of lightning burst forth from within it. His essence spirit, under intense compression, no longer appeared as mist. Instead, a massive lightning totem stood in the starry sky. The moment the lightning totem appeared, a pressure that rivaled the indestructible thunder exploded from it, causing the heavens to tremble. The starry sky began to collapse on a large scale, and thunder shook the world. Around the lightning totem, the spirit thought thunder spun rapidly, forming an image of thunder. Though this all happened in mere moments, it felt like an eternity to the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan. He was dumbfounded, unable to comprehend this sudden change. In his mind, there was no way to devour the souls of the primordial thunder dragons. But a strong sense of impending danger surged wildly in his mind. He vaguely sensed that something was wrong, and with the roar of the indestructible thunder that reached the sacred land, it felt as though it was goading and urging the first elder into action. I can't let him continue. I must stop him, or our Flash Thunder clan will face a great disaster. The expression of the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan immediately twisted into a grimace, his mind snapping back to focus. He let out a low growl, his body swaying forward as he rapidly closed the distance. However, just as he approached, the thunder diagram, formed from Wong Lin's essence spirit, immediately retreated, imprinting itself on Wong Lin's forehead and merging into his body. The instant his essence spirit returned to its rightful place, a rumble echoed from his body. Every muscle, every bone, and even his internal organs were instantly infused with the power of thunder. He had transformed as though becoming thunder itself. His right eye flashed with thunderous light, and the mark of the origin appeared, even more powerful than before, 100 times stronger than earlier. In the moment before the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan could reach him, Wang Lin raised his right hand and waved it forward. The sound of thunderous explosions rang out, echoing in all directions, as layers upon layers of fine thunder webs instantly manifested around Wong Lin. These thunder webs, infused with Wong Lin's will, were unbreakable. Even another thunder cultivator would find it impossible to tear them apart unless they could contest with Wong Lin's mastery of the thunder's half-origin. As Wong Lin swung his hand, the thunder webs multiplied and grew thicker, 10 layers, 100 layers, 1,000 layers, 10,000 layers, 70,000 layers. The Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan charged in, his hands raised, the aura of the fifth decay of heaven and man emanating from his hands. He forcefully tore at the webs with a violent rip. The thunderous roar reverberated, and he managed to tear through over 10,000 layers of fine thunder webs. However, just as he tore them open, they instantly reformed. I need to retreat and find a safe place to close myself off and digest this energy. I can't continue fighting this person. Wong Lin rapidly pulled back, flipping his left hand, where a spirit talisman appeared in an instant, leading to the 7 million realms. Seeing Wong Lin retreat, the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan seemed to go mad, the sense of crisis growing stronger in his heart. I can't let him escape. With a low growl, the Grand Elder spat out a mouthful of blood, transforming it into a blood-red thunderbolt. His clan mark flickered on his forehead, and all his thunder power converged into the blood, forming blood thunder in front of him, which he then hurled with a thunderous crash into the thunder webs. The sound of thunder roared, and the 70,000 thunder layers crumbled almost instantly, but just as the Grand Elder was about to rip them apart, the collapsed layers rapidly restored themselves. The Grand Elder's cultivation was based entirely on thunder, and in their battle, he initially held the advantage. But now, as Wong Lin's power of thunder surged to new heights, a subtle resistance began to form. If it had been any other fifth decay of heaven and man cultivator, killing Wong Lin would have been much simpler. But not for this Grand Elder. He too was a thunder cultivator, and their battle was a contest of control over thunder itself. Seeing Wong Lin retreat faster and faster, especially with the spirit talisman in his hand, the Grand Elder felt a growing sense of dread. He could not afford to hesitate any longer. His eyes flashed with determination, and he raised his hand, fingers forming a seal, pointing to the sky as he muttered in a low voice. Ancestors summon, the indestructible holy thunder that descended upon our clan 10,000 years ago, with my slave identity. I offer 500 years of lifespan and vitality in exchange for the holy thunder to descend upon me and transform into Primordial eternal thunder. The Grand Elder's voice held a strange, commanding tone, and the moment the words left his mouth, his clan mark flashed brightly on his forehead. A massive compass suddenly appeared between heaven and earth, its size beyond measure. One could see it even outside the Flash Thunder clan star domain, stretching infinitely. The compass, worn and damaged as if it had survived some cataclysmic battle, now emanated an indescribable pressure that swept through the air. The sheer force of this pressure made the 70,000 thunder layers surrounding Wong Lin creak under the strain. Wong Lin's expression changed, and his eyes locked onto the compass with intense focus, a grave look in his eyes. His right hand, holding the spirit talisman, moved slowly. He wanted to see what this strange compass was, and just how powerful the divine abilities of a fifth decay of heaven and man cultivator truly were. After the compass appeared, it silently and gradually rotated a small circle. As it turned, it was as though time itself had passed, and the workings of the universe shifted in the blink of an eye, spanning countless years. The Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan's face immediately turned pale, as though part of his soul had been severed. A layer of deathly aura enveloped his face, but it dissipated in an instant. Along with this deathly aura, the enormous compass also began to fade. It seemed to have absorbed enough vitality from the lifespan, slowly vanishing into the starry sky. At the moment of its disappearance, the booming sound of the indestructible thunder from the Flash Thunder clan's sacred land seemed to split apart, breaking through the heavens and earth, heading straight toward the battlefield. In the blink of an eye, the part of the indestructible heavenly thunder that had separated came crashing down. With a low growl from the Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan, he pointed with his right hand. The indestructible thunder descended like a heavenly tribulation, crashing down upon the 70,000 thunder layers surrounding Wong Lin's body. Booming sounds echoed, shaking the heavens and earth. The 70,000 thunder layers shattered instantly. Even when they began to recover, they crumbled and disintegrated once more in a heartbeat. A terrifying thunder might spread in an instant. Wong Lin's pupil shrank, but without hesitation, at the moment the indestructible thunder arrived, he crushed the spirit talisman in his hand. A vortex black hole suddenly appeared behind Wong Lin. He took a step back and stepped directly into the black hole, his figure vanishing instantly. The indestructible thunder, flashing, followed right behind. The Grand Elder of the Flash Thunder clan hesitated slightly. However, seeing the vortex about to dissipate, there was no time to think further. His body shook forward, rushing into the vortex black hole.